to Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi, a podcast that showcases people you may not know who are choosing to use their gifts to inspire and move the planet.
All right, so my guest with me today on Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi, is Brooke Sidney Harbor. Brooke, let the people know who you are and what it is that you do.
Hello, everyone. Well, again, as she said, my name is Brooke Sidney Harbor. I am an abundance accelerator, a mind soulful mentor, and an inner voice and soul story coach. And basically what I do, my life's work is really to help women love the lives that they're living right now. I really work a lot with helping women bring out their inner abundance and their outer abundance so that they can love themselves fully. Like if I had to keep it condensed. That's my heart. That's my purpose.
So how did you find that purpose in your heart? Because it's obvious that you're passionate about that. So tell us how you found that. I mean, what brought you to that point where you decided that this was what you wanted to do? You want women to find their inner abundance.
I do. I think it was my own journey of going down a path that was the quote unquote right path, the right thing to do. And it had nothing to do with what felt right for me. And I feel like so many women, we're told, and not even just women, but kids, but because I'm a woman, I have a special heart for women. But I grew up in a household where certain professions were glorified, law, doctor, those. Yeah. I come from a lineage where my great-grandmother went to college. So the expectations were high for me. And when I said I wanted to be president, that was fine. When I said I wanted to be a lawyer, that was fine. But when I started talking about journalism and those type of things, it was like, okay, now you're going to be poor. Now you're going to be, you know what I mean? Like now you're going off track. Yes. Like that's fine for for fun, right? Mm-hmm. That's fine for fun and a hobby, but that's not what you should be doing. And so, I did a lot of things based on largely what my father said I should do. Mm-hmm. And so that put me in a university. I started off at Hampton University, which I love, HBCU. But that's where my father told me I had to go or he wouldn't support me.
Oh, wow.
Right? And so I was there for 2 years, but I ended up transferring just for additional educational opportunities. I transferred to Duke. I was able to study abroad at Oxford. I just was able to broaden who I was. And it was kind of against my dad's quote unquote wishes, right? But then now he's one of the main people that brags that his daughter went to Duke and Oxford, right? So, right. But it's that thing, I wanted to please my father. I wanted to please, I wanted to do the right thing. And as a kid, whatever your parents tell you to do, you think that it's right. Your parents, my grandmother enforced it on my dad's side. So even graduating from college, I wasn't sure that I wanted to go into law school. To be honest, I wanted to do the marketing and I wanted to do the journalism work. My degree was in political science and women's studies, and I had done a minor at the business school. So I graduated and I actually ended up getting marketing jobs. And my grandmother, again, she's like nursing, top nurse, ran the vet hospital in Hampton Woman of the Year. You're not a lawyer or a doctor, you must be a secretary.
Yeah.
Like that whole thing. And it was like, you went to Duke to not get a law degree. So all of this, right? All of this, I heard my entire life kind of thing. And so I was making okay money, living in Washington, D.C. and everything. And I just kept getting the push, you need to go to law school. I ended up going back and getting my master's in journalism. And that I loved it. It was the best thing ever. I truly kind of listened to my heart. Mm-hmm. I did well. I got a full ride. I actually got paid to go to school. Awesome. And I had really good opportunities. And then the economy tanked.
Yes.
So it was so are you going to now get really serious? Mm-hmm. My dad didn't even come to my journalism master's graduation.
Oh, wow.
It was when you do something real, when you go get a real job, when you go to law school, that's when I'll support you. So all of these messages are telling me to go against what feels right for me, what feels good to me, what I'm actually innately designed to do. And I do it very well, and it comes very easily to me.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, it didn't even register that I should take the signals that, oh, wow, you got actually paid to go to school. Like, you were a dean scholar. Like, they must think you have a talent to do this. But anyway, long story short, I went to law school. I kind of, what's a good word for it? I had to acclimate myself.
Yes.
I had to, as someone said, they did some kind of a survey, like I'm actually a rare, like there's not very many people that think like me that are actually in law school, because I'm more creative.
Yes.
Actually, I think it's, left-brained or whatever it is, the creative brained. Then I am more analytical. Like, I just want to read kind of brain. I'm a creative brain. So apparently I think we're like 2% of all attorneys, right? It's like very, very, very small. So the first year was challenging, right? The first year was like, woo, outlines, like, I just want to go write. You give me a paper to write now, I'm getting an A in that class. You give me a paper to write, or you give me something to speak, I'm getting an A in that class. But the whole thing was that I was operating out. I was not listening to myself. I was following a path that I was supposed to be on. I was supposed to do. It made sense, and I thought it would guarantee me success.
Yes.
Kind of thing. And so what I say that to say, I mean, I graduated. I was editor-in-chief of the Law Review. I brought my journalism in, y'all. I got it, but it wasn't being true to myself.
Yes.
I was being true to what I thought I was supposed to do, be a good girl, that whole thing. And I didn't know that then. Like, I'm telling you now, like, this is like almost 10 years, this is like 8-10 years, whatever, it was a while ago. I didn't know what I know now. And so I just see how I ended up in a marriage that wasn't supportive with, you can argue, you know what I'm saying? You could argue abusive, like, and my voice was dimmed. I didn't even know I was being mistreated. Someone else had to tell me I was being mistreated. And I say all these things to say is that I didn't even have how it was explained to me by growing up the way that I did. And, being the kind of person, I want people to be happy. I'm a hard worker. I want to do the best, right?
Yes.
Everyone knows that. You give the job to Brooke Sidney, she's going to get it done. She's going to get it done on time, all that kind of stuff. But when you don't learn, I think I didn't even learn what it meant to even hear your inner voice, what it even meant to know that I didn't know it existed, really.
Right.
I didn't know that it existed. And I didn't have a household where my voice mattered, or how I felt mattered. So I ended up in a marriage where my voice ultimately didn't matter and how I felt didn't matter. Emotions were not a frequency that were dealt with or play, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that to be like pity me or woe is me, not at all. We end up in these things so that we can learn, and I believe to help and heal each other.
Yes.
But what was interesting and infuriating, I think, and what fueled the journey too, was everyone was like, well, you just didn't listen to your intuition. Like, and I was just like,
about intuition if you don't know about
that's exactly it. So when someone explained it to me, when I actually did some spiritual patterning work with this woman, amazing. And she went through and she says, let's look at all of your relationships. Let's look at your, the male relationships, obviously your intimate relationships, as well as your family relationships. Now this is deep. So basically what she saw was, again, she considered it an abusive upbringing on the mental and emotional side, traumatic in many respects, or, I'm not going to go all into that. But the point is that if you're not taught and if you don't see, how the heck would you know?
Exactly.
So she's likened it to this. She was like, so let's say your ex-husband or whomever you ended up in a relationship with, if their emotional compassion or their emotional intelligence, let's say it on the thermometer, a normal is a 70 degrees, right? And this person came in at like a 60 degrees. Well, they're like, Brooke Sidney, because yours was so low because of your traumatic upbringing, emotional, all this kind of stuff, yours is like at a 50. So your normal register, you're not even seeing that the 60 is bad, and you don't even know that the 70 is where it should be at.
Exactly.
So why would your intuition go off? And I was like, finally, someone is making sense to me, because nothing actually went off. I thought certain people were a catch. I thought they looked the way that I was told the partner is supposed to look. They had the things that a partner is supposed to have, but ultimately they obviously weren't the best partner, because they didn't honestly, truly care about me. And I didn't know enough to fully even be me or hear me. And
well,
so
with the patterns, you probably thought that was right.
I did. That's the thing. That's the thing.
Okay, like this is right for me, you know.
Exactly.
This is how I'm used to being treated.
Thank you. That's exactly it. I was treated that way by my father ultimately. And someone said I was the first, he's the first person that treated me like a trophy. Like, hey, this person is good when they do this good thing.
Yes.
So of course, men and love and stuff is when people were like, oh, look, I'm going to acquire this trophy and this is going to be fun for a minute. I don't really care about her insides, but right. Let's see. You know what I mean? So it became a pattern that I didn't see, because it wasn't like all of them looked alike or all of the problems are exactly the same. But at the end of the day, that was what was happening. And it wasn't until, you know, the divorce from the father of my child, where I was like, no. I was told, okay, hey, you were being abused, like all this stuff. I was like, I got to get to the root of this.
Yes.
Because ultimately I'm creating it. I know people get, you know, it's hard to hear. It's hard to hear. And when you're in it, it's really hard to believe that you created something that was so devastating and so hurtful, and you attracted or whatever this person and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, by taking responsibility, although it's hard, it also means that I can make new choices and I can create and attract new things. And so that got me onto the path. And I realized I'm not the only person that's gone through that. And I feel like as a culture, women, we are taught to subdue. We're taught to not listen to ourselves. And a lot of people don't know what any of this really is. You know, inner voice, intuition, listening to spirit, any of those things.
Yes.
Even knowing that it's possible. So that's what got me. I mean, I hope that's kind of long-winded, but that's what got me on this path. And then I have a yoga and meditation practice. I'm now a yoga teacher. I'm a meditation teacher.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So all of those things, I'm trained in meditation and mindfulness, all this stuff. So it's like that's what I used actually to help get me through my divorce.
Yes.
Was how can I do something productive? How can I like heal? What tools do I need? What tools can I use?
So now you use it in your
in my coaching and teaching. Yes.
I can see how that would make it a passion if it were.
Yeah. And I've seen it for not only myself, but I've seen it for the ladies that I've worked with. I've seen it in kids even.
Yes.
I've been going into schools. I've been doing mindful breath and movement in inner city schools here, like South Central.
Nice.
And just getting them to pause.
Yes.
Not react.
A break.
Yes. Hear their breath, attune to that. And then they're like, wow, I actually slowed down and I thought about X, Y, and Z. I didn't go punch that person. I didn't, you know, I was able to sit down and do my homework, even though I'm so angry right now, Miss Harbor.
Yes.
Things like that. I see it in the little and in the big.
Yes. That's awesome. Because the thing is just like you said, you don't even realize that it is a pattern. You know, I talked to a young lady the other day and she was saying, well, you know, my first husband treated me this way, and then my second husband, and now, you know, I had 2 boyfriends and they treated me the same way. And she looked at me, she said, why do I keep doing that? I said, because you, my dear, keep choosing the same man. I said, now how was your father towards you?
Exactly.
We just talked about that a little bit, you know, but she just went into it, and she also realized at that time that she was choosing the same man. And now they might not have looked all the same.
Exactly.
But they were the same man because they were treating her the same way. They were all abusive. And for some reason, she kept picking abusive men that were going to abuse her. And I said, so what you have to do is you have to figure out why. You know, what is the reason why you keep choosing these men that are going to abuse you? I said, and then at the end of it, you want to cry and you want to try to kill yourself. I said, but you know what? It's you. You keep choosing these same men. You know, and so that's why when you said that, the pattern thing, that's so deep.
It is. And the thing about it is too, you don't want to, a lot of times you don't know what it is, especially if it ends up looking different, right? And there's so many, also there's so many layers to all of it. Yes. So in as much as I can sit here and I can say, you know, I can say a lot of it stems from how I was treated by my father and what love looked like and all that kind of stuff from the person that was my first male role model. Like, that's real, right? But now, farther along the path, even though it's not a healthy relationship necessarily with him, I know that he is a product probably of his own traumatic cycles. Yes. I don't know all of them, but like, it's not, most of the time we become a product of, you know, what we know. Yes. So, you know, that older generation, all of those things, I have no idea, you know, but I just have compassion and know that I trust, right, that he has his own stuff, right, that he has to work through. And the thing is, too, you know, we talk about, and I talk about this a lot now with some of my women clients, you know, in the Christian faith, we call it generational curses. Yes. And in other Eastern religions, like Buddhism, which I've also studied, we call it karma. Yes. And so that is also at play. Like, if I look at my mom, if I look at my sides of the family, there's a lot of divorce, there's a lot of broken homes, there's a lot of that, right? Mm-hmm. So again, it's like, what are you growing up seeing? What are you exposed to? And then what are the unconscious ways of being and believing that it's not just what you're seeing, but it's what you're taught. It's all of that. And that looks like a generational curse, that feels like karma, but yet whatever we call it, it's that energy that's present that is being transferred from generation to generation. Yes. Until someone breaks the cycle and is like, no, we're going to do it differently. We're going to do it this way.
Yes. Because it's in your DNA. And in your genetics. Yep. And you know, once you begin to see it and you begin to look at it. And the thing is so many people don't want to see it and they don't want to get educated about it because they want to be able to, you know, use the blame game, or they want to just stay stuck in the cycle. Right. But once you get to the place where you have gotten where you say, you know what, I'm not going to be stuck here. And I'm not gonna let this keep going on. You know, I'm not going to pass this on to my children.
Exactly. That was another big thing, was that, you know, I have a son. Mm-hmm. And so I just didn't want him to see a certain type of relationship with my ex. I want him, as best as I can, to see a positive relationship, or else I'd rather him create one from scratch rather than see a bad one. You know what I mean? Like, and I definitely didn't want him to have a mother that was not loving towards herself, was not caring about herself, and not, even to this day, pursuing the dreams that she wants to do, so that I can show him fully that he can do whatever it is he desires to do and was put on the planet to do. So I think our kids, for me, and even talking to women about self-care and self-love, like, our kids should actually motivate us to live better, to be better, and to live better. And that became like a non-starter because of my son, certain things.
That's awesome. That is powerful. I'm just excited just to be able to have this time to have this discussion and to bring you on here so that other women can see. Because the thing is, you know, I'm also passionate about women living their best life, you know, because I know that, you know, women go through things just like you said, and you can do it year after year after year and decade after decade, and you can take this kind of shit to your grave. Yeah. You know, and never achieve what it is you came to the planet to do, because exactly. I believe that there's always something that we came here to do. And that thing that you talked about trying to please your father and your family, that is big.
It's huge. No, it really is huge. Like, I realized one day, I think I did a Facebook Live or post on it, but I was like, I really have these law school loans. I'm really paying this off. I'm paying all this to satisfy somebody else. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, I have my legal education. Don't get me wrong. It has served me. It serves me now. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's just the fact of the matter is that was not necessarily my passion. Like, that wasn't necessarily what I'm supposed to be doing. And then just the idea of, even if I had gotten to it on my own, it would have been a different way. It would have been for me, not for, you know, to be right in my dad's eyes, or to do the quote unquote right thing, or literally being scared of being poor. I'm being dead serious. Like, oh my God. I mean, he scared me. It was just like, I mean, you don't want to grow up and be poor. I mean, it was like literally like, you know, your grandmother would turn over in her grave almost. Like, it's just like, you know, like, oh my God, you know, so those type of things. Like, and I think that like most people at some level, they have their own, it may not sound exactly the same, but they have their own level of embedded shoulds. You should do this, you shouldn't do that.
Yes.
Success is this and not that. And we need to be defining it for ourselves. Like, that's my thing. We need to define it for our damn selves. We don't need anybody else defining it for us. And even with my son, I'm trying to nurture the things that he likes so that he can sort and choose. Yes. Not me choose it for him.
You know, as they say on Facebook, this is the key. Because the thing is, you know, I understand that completely, because my family, everybody's a freaking nurse. My father's an attorney, but everybody else are nurses, you know, and then I've been one because I needed to make money. I didn't finish college, so I went to nursing school. And then the next thing I get is, well, are you going to get your RN? Are you going to go get your master's? Are you going to go get your doctorate? Are you going to go get this and that? And I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't want to do it. I don't. You want to be an MP? No, I don't want to do it. I don't. No, I can't resonate with it. You know, it's not for me. Yeah, I'm proud and happy for all of you guys that do all the
good though.
That is wonderful.
Good.
But
that's good, Tammy. No, that's really good, because I see people, myself included, where we have to get, and I talk about this as well, we have to get a credential. We have to get a license. We have to have somebody authorize us, because that's one of my biggest pushes right now. I'm talking about the fact that give yourself permission to do it, self-authorize.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't need, a lot of times, you know, especially I've seen it more with women than with men. Men will do it and then be like, tell me I can't do it.
Yes.
Women, we have to go get every box checked, every degree. Okay, how many, I know so many people have got how many certifications, how many this, before they start doing something.
Yes.
And it's like, no, you actually, I'm not saying there are certain things need a license. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, like, we will get those things and still not move and think we need something else in addition, you know, or somebody else to say, okay, this person is now able to do. And we don't need that. We have to give ourselves the permission to do what we're supposed to do, our dreams, our goals, whatever spirit put inside of us.
Yes. Yes, and that's like key. You know, it's like we have all these things put in us, because I truly believe that so many things that we're supposed to do, they're already in us.
Yes.
We don't need no permission. We don't need, you know, and the thing is I'm guilty as anybody else. I take courses and classes, and I'm probably taking 2 or 3, you know, and I got about 5 books I'm reading, because I'm a reader. You know, I got 2 or 3 I'm reading, and 2 or 3 that are on audibles that I'm listening to, and, you know, and you know, yeah, I can do this, and yeah, I want to do that, and I'm, you know, but then there are things that are put in us that we're called to do, and we don't need nobody's validation.
No.
You know, and this is the thing, and this is one of the things that I tell ladies that I work with. I'm like, you don't need a validation, you know, just because, you know, you don't have this particular degree. I said, do you know how many books, you know, are out on that subject? You know how many damn YouTube videos? Do you know what the hell Google is? You know, you can learn anything you want on Google and YouTube. you know, and there's so many other platforms that you can check out. I was like, people have stuff for you. There are books, you know, the thing is. And so you tell them, you say, you don't need, you know, this particular certification, you know, to do this, that, and the third. You know, you can learn about it. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some things that make it easier for you as you get those things. However, not everything. And just like you said, sometimes you get all that stuff and you still don't move.
Right. You're still waiting for, well, I don't feel ready yet. And
yes. And people are out there doing things. You know, people are moving the planet, and people are, you know, sharing their gifts with the world. And they might not have none of that stuff you got.
No.
You know, because I tell everybody all the time, I said, you know, look at Bill Gates. Yeah, he went to Yale, but it was only for a year. I think he's the richest man in the world. I mean, come on, because he had that vision. I said, and he went after it and did it.
A lot of them dropped out of college. That's the interesting thing. A lot of the people that are quote unquote successful or entrepreneurs or inventors, they let that drive them and they put other stuff to the side.
Right. And what I noticed too, a lot of times is especially people of color, they want you to do, be a lawyer, a doctor, engineer, and maybe a nurse. Now, there's whole bunches of things you can do in between that don't have anything to do with that, where you'll make money. You know?
Yeah, it's true. And, you know, a long time ago, if you go from like Harlem Renaissance forward, back then we had to create our own jobs.
Yes.
We had to be more entrepreneurial and more creative. And then the push became when schools became, you know, we had schools and then they started, you know, desegregation. Then it became the push to get a job. But a long time ago, you couldn't get a job. You had to create one, like after slavery ended. So it's kind of like, it's almost like to have the freedom and the encouragement, really honestly, to make your own path.
Yes, yes.
You know, I'm not knocking anybody who, you know, who's not an entrepreneur or wants the traditional jobs or whatever. Like, my only thing is just listen to what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
Follow your heart.
You need those people anyway. I mean,
exactly.
You know,
they need everybody.
You need everybody.
Yeah.
You need a doctor. You need a lawyer. You need an engineer. You need somebody, you know, to work at these places. I need somebody to work at McDonald's and Burger King and Chick-fil-A and all that. And I need to eat that stuff sometimes, not all the time.
Right. No. Every time. What did someone say? We learned in yoga that you eat clean and you gotta eat clean and a little dirty though. You gotta have a little dirty.
Right. And I do the best. You know, that's actually something I'm working on. And yoga is something that I'm actually moving toward doing because I have issues with my back that I know they want me to have surgery, but I'm not gonna do that. So I'm like, okay, I gotta start with yoga. And, you know,
things first,
Yeah, all kinds of natural things because I'm not trying to do all that. I can't have them going in my back. It's just not something I'm comfortable with.
Oh, that's good.
And see, the thing is even when I think about that, it's like, that's how we should feel about everything else. If you're not comfortable with it, then why the hell are you doing it?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like I tell people all the time at work, I said, I think about that quote from Bad Boys, the movie with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith.
Will Smith, right.
When the lieutenant told him, said, if you don't like your job, quit. I think about that all the time. I'm like, why are you complaining and whining and bitching about this job? You don't like it, go get another damn job. You know, or not. But stop bitching and moaning and whining about it every single day.
It's just, I think for a lot of people, it's become like a habitual way of thinking, and that usually is very kind of like fear-based.
Yes.
So, you know, instead of attuning to the possibility of I can get a better job, their mind goes through, I will have no job. I will, you know what I mean? Like it goes on to the bad scenario first, instead of looking at, oh, what are all the possibilities? Now I get a chance to have a great job. Now I get a chance to wake up in the morning excited to go to work. Now I get a chance to like actually redo my resume. I get a chance to be like, screw you, job that I don't like. You know, like that's, you know, got to get the juices flowing on that side.
Right.
You know, like mindset flip, but it's
choices.
It is choices.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And it's actually deciding that you want to do things a little bit differently. You want to think about things a little bit differently. You want to open yourself up to other ideas, ways of being.
Yes. Stepping out of that fear.
Exactly. And, you know, the latest thing, a girlfriend and I were just talking about that. It was like a lot of people will say, oh, I'm just being realistic. No, your realism, your realism is what's keeping you stuck.
Yeah.
Your realism is what's keeping you, unhappy ultimately, because my realism, my reality is way different than what your reality is.
Right. And way different than what you might see. Yes, yes.
What you think is available for you and through you.
Yes. So what do you see going forward for your business? I mean, how do you see yourself going forward? Do you see more classes or more speaking engagements, more single sessions? Because I don't know if you do single sessions, or do you do programs, or what do you see going forward?
Okay, so I predominantly do, for all of like my coaching and mentoring, I predominantly do one-on-one sessions. I've done one class. It was a visioning, visioning and manifesting mastermind, but predominantly it has been like one-on-one work. As I am growing and continuing to make more room, which is exciting to me for this business, I'm looking to do a group program. I'm actually excited about that. That's probably something that's coming probably either April, May, or June. So definitely second quarter. I think that's second quarter, right? Yeah, second quarter.
Yeah.
But I'm doing more speaking, obviously, and then with the creation of my Mind Soulful show, which is going to be on all the podcast channels, all of those airwaves, as well as on YouTube, very similar to yours. In that respect, that has really been a long-term dream, that to get the message out, to actually help people. And I believe, because, there's all different price points, obviously, but I know that through the podcast and through the show, that's a really easy way to help more people, to get the message out, to have people start feeling a shift in the way that they're thinking. Just even you actually questioning what I'm saying is actually the beginning for you potentially to start seeing things another way.
Yes.
And so I'm really excited about that. I mean, I do offer clarity. I do offer clarity calls, or shift calls. I also have a Mama Love Planner. So that was one of the first things I actually ever created. It's basically, it was a self-care tool. So people were, everyone started talking about self-care, and I lived it. So I had a small child. I never had any time to do anything by myself, and I was getting very burnt out. So I figured I had to schedule it, and I literally searched the market, and there was nothing like it. So I created the Mama Love Planner really to help us as women and mothers prioritize their self-care goals and actually schedule it. So taking this idea, because I'm all about that, that's where the law did help me. It makes you take your creative ideas, for me, and make them practical. And that's how I have the planner, because it was like, everyone can talk about, we need self-care routines, which I talk about them too. We need to figure out our self-care. I have an ebook now about self-care based on the 5 love languages. But in order to make it practical, you have to actually do the work. You actually have to make the time to do it in order, you know what I mean? So that's why that's where the planner came from. It also has a gratitude practice. I teach a lot on gratitude. I just finished a gratitude challenge that I did for 8 days in my Facebook group. So, people are welcome. Again, I'm trying to offer teachings that at every level. So it's not just, I can't afford her, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. There's every different level to work with me. And then I created some gratitude journals. But that's the big things. And I'm just going to continue kind of doing more of that. I've got some speaking engagements already on the books for the year, and just continuing to do that work. And then I also do, of course, attorney work. As everyone knows, I'm an intellectual property attorney. And then I also do author and writing services.
So you're busy.
Yeah, and teach yoga. That's true. I teach yoga and meditation still.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Yeah.
I bet that's like a baby.
It is. And one of my main classes now are for kids. So I was predominantly teaching adults. in terms of studio work and not classrooms, because I was going to the classroom still, but actually now I've even added a Kundalini yoga for kids class on Tuesday nights in the local LA area. So it's full, but you know, I am stacking my life slowly and surely with all of the things that I enjoy doing, and I feel like are on my like a call on my life to do.
Yes, that is
and they all go together. They all go together. I mean, to me, they do.
They do, because it's all mindfulness.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is. And the interesting thing is that, so, you know, I'm a big believer in meditation, prayer, all of it, but meditation has really, really helped me during my divorce. Like, it really did. And so one of the things the Spirit told me was like, continue healing yourself and you can heal others. Like, literally, I was getting the download, like, heal yourself, heal others. Heal yourself, heal others. And I was like, okay. So I spent a lot of time. I spent money. I had coaches. I had therapists, the whole nine, because I'm ultimately my only product. That's another thing, women. You guys got to learn this. You are your only thing. Like, ultimately, you are your only product. Like, you are it for your kids, for your family. Like, it's just that critical. Like, if you shift yourself, you make yourself healthy, your whole family benefits. Like, it's just crazy. But you know, so like, even now, my son, when he gets upset, he'll come in and be like, Mama, can we just take some breaths? You know, instead of getting all, he'll come like, let's breathe. Like, and so calms them down. And that would never have happened if I hadn't gone on that journey. You know, that's what I'm saying. And so later on, as I continued to do the mindfulness teachings and everything, to me, there was a little bit missing.
Okay.
And what I found to be missing is what Spirit gave me, God, whatever, as mind soulful. Okay. And that's putting the soul into the mindfulness. That's not letting mindfulness, meaning your pausing and awareness, stay in your head, but travel into your heart and outpour from your soul. Like, it's not just a head exercise, which is where most people make it. Most people make mindfulness all about your head.
Yes.
My teaching delivers more from the heart and the soul. It's a more heart and soul based mindfulness.
Yes. And you know, and what you're doing is inspiring a whole new generation to come there. You know, because the thing is my children are all woo-woo, and I'm so so I can talk to them about this stuff, you know, and I'm like, yeah, you know, your grandma had this dream, you know, so you need to, you know, check on your daddy and things like that. And
I love that.
You know, and so my kids they're all like, you know, I call them Zen kids, you know, but the thing is we have to inspire this in the next generation, because they're going to need it. They are. And the funny thing is that, I mean, I definitely have friends now. This is going a different place maybe than where you want to go, but I definitely have friends where, you know, however Spirit talked to them, they were discouraged from hearing it. Yes.
Meaning that if Spirit, God, Creator, whatever you call it for you, looked or talked or sounded, or you heard it in like we were talking about, you heard it through the ocean, you connected to God through nature, then it was like, something is wrong with you, because you're not connecting to God in the church. You're not connecting to God in a particular path. And I think now more than ever, we have children and we have people that, especially kids though, that they experience these things. And when we don't put them in those experiences in a box and allow them to have them, then they grow.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They can grow in their relationship with Spirit. They can grow in their connection to themselves.
Yes.
And they'll find the words to describe it, what they need to describe. But I know I have a lot of friends where literally, like, one said she saw an ancestor or something, and her family was like calling her the devil stuff. I mean, it was like crazy. And she's a kid. Like, she's a kid, so she didn't summon anything. You know what I mean? And so it's just that, you know, I don't know. It's like, you just have to, especially for the kids, and I mean, really just support them in their growth and in their journey, and
because
listen.
they're open.
Exactly. Listen. Yeah.
Yes.
We can learn from them. Like, we really can.
Yes. I always have.
Yeah,
People
my
say,
greatest teacher is 5 years old.
exactly. You're like, I'm like, well, my kids said, such and such a thing. My daughter would say stuff like, Mom, can you feel and can you tell if somebody's good or bad? And I would just say, can you tell? And then she would share with me, yeah. Yeah.
She can feel it.
She can feel it. And she's the type of kid that she didn't let everybody touch her.
Right.
Right.
No, yeah.
She just didn't. She wouldn't have just, how you're like, well, hug so-and-so. She's like, no. And I never pushed her to do it. You know what I mean? Because I honored that part of her.
No, I feel you. Yeah, I definitely, I mean, I've had dogs like that where I was like, if that dog does not go over to you, to that person, then he's sensing some energy that I'm going to pay attention to. Exactly. Our world is not just what we see, in so many respects. And that's a good thing. That's actually a good thing.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just really hopeful that these kind of conversations and bringing awareness to this consciousness, I feel like to these type of teachings is so needed.
Yes, it is.
Because then when people have what I call the most important thing is your own experience of spirit.
Yes.
Then you can allow it to grow. You can nurture it. And it doesn't have to be in the box. It doesn't have to be a certain way. You don't have to be afraid. I mean, when I did yoga at first, I was kind of afraid, like Christian, all that, oh, it's the devil, it's this and that. Yeah. And I was like, wow, well, why is God so small that he can't accompany me on the yoga mat?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. When we start bringing light to some of these fears, how big is my God?
Right. Exactly. And
so,
the thing is
yeah, you can, even if you think about old school, stuff, you can consecrate anything. It's like once we just need to start like having, I think, a lot more conversations. I know a lot of people have been scared to have them.
Yes.
But it's free. I feel free. I'm not, I have so many years in debt payments for living somebody else's dream for me. Sally Mae, law school loans. I'm just saying. And it's actually good. It's like a good reminder, like, what are we paying for? What are we spending our time doing? Is it for our dreams or someone else's, right? And so, I try to live as free now as I possibly can and encourage other people to live as free as they possibly can.
Exactly. And that is like so powerful. You don't even know. It's like, I live, what is it? Get rich or die trying, live free or die trying.
Exactly.
What I say is like, live free. Let's be free and let's not be, in a box, and let's not put God there. Because he's so much bigger and so much more expansive. Exactly. All right, so now I just want to let you share your details, how people can reach out to you. Who are you looking for as far as typical clients that you'd like to reach out to you? Share your details, where you're going to be, and we're going to wrap this thing up.
Okay. So for like my coaching and mentoring clients, you can reach me on BROOKESIDNEY.com. You can reach me on Facebook at the Brooke Sidney, Instagram, the Brooke Sidney. It's basically the in front of my name, as well as on Twitter. So I'm basically on all the social media in the same place with basically the same name, if that makes sense. So BROOKESIDNEY.com. But in terms of clients that I work with, most of the time I'm working with clients that are usually going through transition, I'm finding. They have either maybe even gone through a divorce, or something in their life has shaken them up so that they're dissatisfied at this point with what is going on. They are seeing something that's missing. Not necessarily they're depressed necessarily, but I do have a couple clients that have been both in therapy as well as doing coaching. You can do them both at the same time. They're actually very compatible. Two different things too. A lot of people think they're the same. They're not the same. going, counseling, formal therapy is not the same as coaching and mentoring.
Yeah.
But a lot of times there are people that are going through transition. The other thing is there are people that are very similar to me, which makes sense, in that they got to a so-called place and found that it was empty.
Yes.
So they climbed the hill and realized they didn't have the keys to open that door that was sitting at the top, because it wasn't a door that they truly wanted to open. And so really helping people reconnect to themselves. And that has been through mentoring, as well as even I offer private online meditation services to help people to do that. So that is really, I feel like, predominantly the people that I think are attracted to my work. But lately, because I've been doing a lot of inner and outer abundance work, I'm attracting people that really want to learn more about manifestation.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is interesting. And I actually, I'm getting my certification in the Quantum Success Coaching Academy. So definitely I know all of quote unquote laws of attraction. I know that, but I use those things kind of in conjunction with my mindfulness training.
Yes.
So I don't teach pure laws of attraction, although they work. It's not a matter of that. It's just my blend of kind of how it works. But a lot of people have been saying, well, how have you manifested X? How have you, because I have done that. I know that I'm abundant, inner and outer. And so now I'm doing a lot more of that teaching, which has been an interesting transition, but it all still is based on your inner work, that self-love, that's what inner abundance is.
Yes.
Your outer reflects your inner.
Yes.
So, like you want to be manifesting from the inside out. It's really just another way of talking about basing your life on things that matter to you, so that you can create real inner resources, right? Real joy, real success based on the things that you value and prioritize. So it's like I'm calling in people that are very attracted to that message. And I love that. I just love that work. And then on the flip side, there's the author coaching, editing and ghostwriting services. You can find that same information on my website, BROOKESIDNEY.com. I'm primarily working with referrals, although I'll take some clients, and sometimes there's a wait list. But I really predominantly work with spiritual authors who are writing spiritual works, or personal development. So you can be a coach, but usually you're in the personal development, like kind of a spiritual wellness, like I consider myself to be, space.
Yes.
I really want to put forth work that is changing the consciousness of this planet, both in what I'm doing, as well as supporting other people and getting their work out that's doing the same thing. And then of course I'm an attorney, so you know all that. You can find me in the same places. But yeah, I'm taking a couple of clients. I say that I have a limited spot for a couple one-on-one clients that really want to do the work, and I'm not here to convince. I really feel like your soul knows.
Yes.
And if you're listening to that voice, or you're hearing the urge, I really encourage people to tune in. So even if it's not me that you end up working with, that you find someone that resonates with you.
Yes,
that,
that's important.
You know what I mean? That the energy is right.
Yes.
It's like I didn't choose my coach based on the fact she had 50 testimonials. I chose my coach and mentor because of who she is, the life that she's lived, and her energy.
Yes.
And everyone that I have worked with, both on the coaching, mentoring side, and even on the book side, they're always like, Spirit told me to work with you. Yes. Those are the clients that I want.
Yes. That's powerful. That is awesome. All right. So we're going to wrap it up. I have enjoyed this discussion with Brooke Sidney Harbor. It's been amazing. She dropped some true nuggets in there. So thank you so much for listening. This, again, is straight out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi. This is my podcast where I showcase people that you might not know, but people that you need to know. So if that's you and you want to come on here, just shoot me a message. My deets will be in the comments, so I'm easy to find, and all her information is there. So reach out to her if it's something that she can help you with. All right, so we're gonna go. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.